welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome to my YouTube channel. I am so happy to have you here today. Let's dive into some petty revenge stories. My parents are petty revenge experts. I had moved from West Coast to East Coast and was back living with my parents while I finished college again. Got a job, found my own place, etc. For a reason I can't remember, I was sitting in their room watching TV. There was an exercise bike parked at the end of their bed. My dad came in with an armload of laundry and I heard my mum yell up the stairs, "Put them away, not all over my exercise bike." My dad walks into the closet, puts his clothes away, comes out carrying an armload of different clothes, drapes them artfully all over the bike and leaves. A few minutes later, my mum walks in, looks at the bike and sighs heavily. I said, "You know he does that just to rile you up, right?" "Oh, I know. That's why I leave all my clothes draped over the edge of the bathtub, so he trips over them whenever he comes and goes from there. It's a game we play." They've been happily married since 1968. You do the math, and do stuff like this to each other all the time. They giggle about it constantly. However, beware, getting on their bad side, they keep their skills honed on each other so they're ready to dispense petty revenge wherever necessary. That is a great relationship. They egg each other on, they antagonize each other, they have a giggle, and they know that they're doing it for fun. I love that. Insulting me won't get your windows cleaned. This isn't my story, but one of my clients. I, of course, got permission to post, albeit with fake names. Let's set the scene. This happened last week. My client, C, 25 female, is a store owner of a fancy boutique store in an awesome off Main Street in one of the larger European cities. It might be off Main Street. Their street has been consistently voted the most fancied streets in the city, due to the original middle-aged building, the overhanging plants, and the general good relaxing vibe that hang there. That sounds really, really nice actually. One of the downsides of the overhanging plants in the street is that during the seasons, the windows of the stores tend to get really dirty real fast. Plant seeds tend to stick to the windows, leaving stains. This means you have to clean your windows daily. Now, onto the story. C is a smart woman. When she mops the windows of her store, she adds a chemical to her soap, some coat that makes the seeds not stick to the windows. This means she only has to clean her windows once per week, sometimes even less. Her neighboring store owner, Karen, K, 40 female, noticed, and one day when C is doing her cleaning routine, K comes storming out. This is the convo that follows. K, how do you keep your windows so clean? I demand to know. C, I add some expensive coating to the water. K, thinking about this. So your current water is that coating? C, yes. K, great, let me know when you're done with your windows. C, why would I clean your windows? K, because as a senior store owner of this street, I deserve it. C, will you reimburse my time? K, don't be silly. My store attracts so many consumers to the street. I pay with that clientele. C, realizing their stores sell very different products. So you want me to do it for free? K, so you youngsters do manage to understand. Insert local non-English language. Good, off you go. Let me know when it's done. At this point, C is shocked at the entitlement and decides there and then to take revenge for the disrespect. She cleans and dries her own windows, and when she's done, she throws some remaining water against the windows of K's store. She even goes out of her way to make another bucket of water to throw to the remaining windows of K's store and goes back to business. Sounds innocent enough, right? Wrong. C knows that if you don't dry the windows after washing them, you'll get stains. However, the chemical that Kay adds to coat her windows hardens those stains, meaning You can hose them down, but once the windows dry, the stains return. This continues to happen until the coating is completely removed from the windows, which takes about 6 months. Kay didn't dry her windows and she threatened legal action against C. That never happened. What did happen was that Kay got a professional window cleaner to get rid of the coating. It took them 3 cleaning sessions to do it, setting Kay back several €100. Moral of the story, insulting C will make your windows look dirty for a long time. That was so good. That will hopefully make Karen realize that she isn't entitled to things just because she's been there the longest and brings consumers in. Petty revenge on a smelly teacher. At the school I went to for years 9 to 11, US would be high school, the language department head teacher was a heavy smoker. Ooh. She came to surveil our class one day for some reason, and she sat 1 row over and 1 row back from me. She had that lingering death crud smell of a smoker, and I didn't appreciate having to smell it. No one appreciates smelling that. Also, I was kind of an a-hole. So I took revenge. I rummaged a big biro pen out from my knapsack. That's the cylindrical white plastic kind versus the previous clear hexagonal design. What else is white and cylindrical? Yep, I held that pen between 2 fingers, occasionally put it in my mouth and then took it out again, periodically flicked it with my thumb or tapped it with my pointer finger, right in her line of sight. Not big exaggerated motions that might get me pinched for disrupting, just enough for her to avoidably see and to center punch her nerves. She grew steadily more antsy fidgety as the class period dragged on, and when the bell went, she flew out of the door and down the corridor in the direction of the staff room. Peak petty, LMAO. Honestly, it's the little psychological jabs like this that live rent-free in someone's head way longer than any big act of revenge. Low effort, high impact, 10 out of 10 execution. You want me to do the job you fired me from? I don't think so. I do lab management for a lab. My background is not in the subject studied in this lab, but I know the bare minimum and it doesn't get in the way of my job. I worked very hard to get where I am and have become integral into the lab. A few months ago, I was put in a documentation role that also involved dealing with cryogenic storage. Last Friday, a meeting was held with everyone but me, which was strange. After the fact, a friend on my team told me that during the meeting, everyone was told that I would be taken off this role and it would be given to someone more knowledgeable on the subject. Obviously, this is hurtful and unprofessional of my manager to not speak to me before this. There is more to the story in that someone blamed me for ruining their experiment and doing something I did not do. So instead of talking to me at all, my manager punished me for it and undermined me to the entire team. My manager has still not spoken to me to officially remove me from this role. What a coward. Towards the end of the day, I received a message from the new, untrained person in this role asking me to do it for them. Again, at this point, no one had officially told me it was no longer my role. And they needed it done soon. So another scientist, ironically the one that accused me, wouldn't have to stay past 6 p.m. I'll get back to you, I said. I did not. The scientist had to stay several hours longer. Didn't fix the situation, but it felt nice. Yeah, I bet it felt nice. I would have done the same thing. Honestly, I would have done the same thing. And what a coward your manager is not telling you. Happiness is the best revenge. I was working at a job where I had 2 co-workers / assistants. Their job position was intended to partially support mine and partially they worked independently as well. I reported directly to the manager. These two girls were nasty and decided to try to get me fired because one of them wanted my position. Always the case. There's always someone vying for your position. Work for yourself. Honestly, if you can, work for yourself. That way, you're the only one competing with you. So you don't have anyone else trying to be nasty and trying to get you fired because they want your job. They kept running to the manager with frivolous complaints about me and constantly undermined my work, but not doing the support work. In addition, 2 other people left at the same time, so pretty soon I was overwhelmed, overworked, and miserable, working what felt like 3 jobs instead of 1. The more miserable I got, the more visibly happy they were. And I would get even more sad because once I thought of these girls as friends, I felt like I was carrying so much weight on my shoulders, feeling unsupported by my manager, being attacked by these women who were once my friends, and just physically and emotionally overwhelmed with so much work. I was running myself ragged and finally letting go of my appearance and just looked so bedraggled. One day I was sitting in my apartment crying. Oh, hon. Oh, that makes me so sad to think that you're crying. Thinking about the smirks on their faces when I left that day. And then I thought to myself, wait a minute, if they are so happy seeing me miserable, then the opposite must be true. What if they saw me happy? And they're probably miserable in their own life, so that's why they're trying to make your life miserable. So absolutely, don't let them know that they're getting to you. The next day I woke up, combed my hair, wore makeup, put on the nicest clean clothes I had. Then I went to my job and pranced in with a huge smile on my face like I was on cloud 9. I chatted happily with my favorite co-worker loudly, who sat next to the other 2 women. I watched those girls out of the corner of my eye and they exchanged a wide-eyed look that said, "We're doomed." The next week, they tried their best to annoy me. One of them kept interrupting me constantly, unnecessarily, and every time I gushed with smiles and gratitude. The disappointment on her face was downright hilarious. I enjoyed smiling at them every time I passed by, saying over the top sweetly please and thank you, and acting so incredibly considerate towards them every chance I got. It drove them insane. Pretty soon, they were looking terrified and miserable. Yeah, because they hadn't gotten the best of you. And that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to get the best of you. They wanted to tear you down, and you didn't let them. And their life was no longer happy. They weren't able to tear you down. It became fairly apparent that they thought I had some secret discussion with the manager. At one point, one of the girls had an outburst and went and yelled at the manager saying, "You were going to fire me anyway." She did get fired. And it was not because I said anything to the manager. It was only because she couldn't handle me being happy. The other one was scared into silence after that, I bet. I eventually left the job because the management sucked. I still am in awe at how just appearing happy and being super nice affected them so much. I got to make them as miserable as they made me without having to be actually unkind to them like they were to me. Good for you. Good for you. That is great. Killing them with kindness. See, fake it till you make it. If you pretend that you're happy, you'll be happy. Karma works in mysterious ways. And karma always gets those terrible people. So good for you. I'm so happy for you. I changed my fiance's Tinder account. Well, it's exactly as it reads. I, 30 female, was engaged to my fiancé, 32 male, until I wasn't. 40 days before the wedding, I found out he was cheating. I had a dress, we had flights, destination elopement. It was 40 days out. Anyway, he had a Tinder account and was telling women we were polyamorous if it came up. Well, before I fully called off the engagement, I went on his phone and changed the Tinder account. I don't care if it's petty or evil. We had 2 kids, a home, a whole ass life. So I changed the account, replaced his photos with mine, deleted his bio, and even paid the like $8 fee so he could see how many likes were coming in. When he'd seen it, he shit bricks. After maybe 6 hours, there were already thousands of likes, men trying to match me. Shortly after I made him leave, I owned the home and cancelled the entire wedding. Needless to say, I am doing much better these days. I love it. That is so good. And good for you finding out and just dealing with that in the best possible way and so quickly. My time is just as important as yours. My wife and I moved into a newly renovated building. The first 4 floors were there already as a sort of former slums. The building was renovated and had 3 floors added. So we are in the new floors. There is a bit of tension between some of the new residents and some of the old ones. Mostly it's about communal resources. The old residents are lower income and have a mentality of not wanting to spend any money at all. Even though they agreed to the renovation, gained extra rooms for their apartments and an elevator, etc. One of the contingency points is over the building's front yard. They don't want to pay for a gardener, even though it works out to be about $10 a month for each household. To be clear, we don't own the apartment, we rent. But I get that some people have a hard time making ends meet and thought I would take the yard as a project. One of the neighbors, Danielle, keeps starting arguments in the building group chat. She keeps writing crap about the old residents needing to respect the new residents more, about how much she spent on her apartment. She started complaining about the yard endlessly. She also orders a lot of food, and due to a mix-up, I'm always getting her orders and sending it over. Well, I am a reserve can't speak. Oh my God. Well, I am a reserve soldier, and I was called in for over a long stretch. During this time, she kicked up a fuss that the yard looks bad. I apologized, explained I didn't have time to get it on account of being, drafted. She responded that her time is just as valuable as mine and she doesn't want to waste it talking about the yard. Then just don't. This led to me noping out of the group chat. Didn't feel like fighting. Said farewell and thanks for the fish and left. I'm still doing the yard, but at my own pace. Today, 2 huge bags of cat food arrived at my door. Had her name on it. I put a letter on it that said, "Dear Danielle, sorry I didn't let you know about the delivery. I would have, but I value my time just as much as you value yours. Good luck." I am way too happy about this. Simple. Very, very, very simple. I love it. Good job, OP. Well, I hope you enjoyed those petty revenge stories. If you did, please hit that like and subscribe button. It does help out my YouTube channel and it does allow me to keep making these videos for you. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.